Get ready to be amazed. Get ready to be transformed. Get ready to believe it is possible. You're entering the growth zone on the Guts and Glory Show with your host, Louise Scott.
Welcome everyone to the Guts and Glory Show. I'm your host, Luis, and I am excited to talk to you about the mindset of an entrepreneur. I am just right now finding it so incredibly disheartening, or maybe that's not the word. It's just sad for people out there, for people who are entrepreneurs. You know, as a consultant, I spend a lot of time working with people on how to build their business, how to actually progress their business so their business meets their needs. You know, one of the things that I want is for your business to meet your need versus you meeting the need of the business, meaning you're not an employee of your business, but rather the business serves you. Because what's the point of building a business if you create a job? And as I've now consulted hundreds and hundreds of people, and maybe in the thousands at this point, because of some of the academies that we have in the team training, but definitely hundreds of firms, what I'm realizing is this sense of overwhelm, this sense of disgust for their business, this sense of feeling like their business is not serving them, is not giving them what they want and need out of their life and out of their business. And it's just a common thing, and it's happening right now. And, you know, recently I've had conversations with some of my clients who are just facing a very difficult time. And I used to have a mentor of mine who would tell me that building a business wasn't hard. It was just building a business and managing your life that was difficult. And I believe that for a long time, like for a really long time, I really believed that was true. But the older I get and the more I work in business, building a business is hard. And there are some things that make it hard, and it's the complexity of people management, the complexity of you know, building a business plan, raising your leadership, working with people, marketing, and getting enough people to want to be interested in your product. So building a business is hard, but we make it more difficult because we don't have the mindset of the entrepreneur that we should have. We don't have the mindset of somebody who is geared for the long haul. And the fact of the matter is that entrepreneurship, you know, sure, the Amazons of the world and the Apples of the world and Disney and Facebook and all these guys became super successful, and they got a lot of venture capital and were able to build their business to $1 billion status in a relatively short amount of time, right? Because if you think about Facebook went from existence in the early 2000s to $1 billion status in like 10 years. So sure, those things exist, but most entrepreneurs are not going to have that experience. Most entrepreneurs will have $1 million experience, which is great. They will become very successful. They're going to have a life that many people envy. And if they're consistent and persistent enough, they're going to have some of the luxuries of life. You know, when I think about my own personal life, and yes, I have 2 homes and I own 2 boats, and I do have exotic cars, and I do have expensive vacations, and we have full-time help around the house. I tell people all the time that I'm not. I have a third business. It's called the Scott household. You know, we have so many people that work for us. But I don't have $1 billion business, and I don't know if I ever will. And that's not a limiting belief. It's just the product that I serve takes extended amount of time to get to that $1 billion status. You know, I don't have a tech product. I'm servicing consulting and legal services. So it takes more time to generate the reputation to make that a reality. So it's not that it can't happen. It's just, it's going to take a lot longer time. And I think that what happens many times with entrepreneurs is that they don't gear up for the battle. They don't gear up for the long haul. They don't gear up for the time that it's going to take to be successful. They want to open their business. They see other people do this in 2 or 3 years. And I have a firm that in 3 or 4 years generated 10 million in revenue and independently wealthy now because of their business. But they see that and they just assume that that's the case for everyone. And that's not the case for everyone. If you're going to be an entrepreneur out there, you have to gear up for the battle. You have to be prepared for the long haul, because this is a marathon. Entrepreneurship is not a sprint. It is a marathon. But the cool thing about the marathon is that there's no time limit. There's no time limit. There's no time restriction. It's not like if you don't finish at a certain time, you're going to be kicked off. You know, if you've ever run a marathon, they tell you. I used to do Spartan races. And at the beginning of the Spartan race, they would say, okay, your start time is 7:45. You just have to finish before the sun comes down. And so we would have, 12 hours to finish the race. There's no time restriction on entrepreneurship. There's no deadline. There's no, if you don't finish by this time, you have to get off the course. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You have to be willing to go the full day and in the night, and then the next day and in the night, and then the next day and in the night. That's really what entrepreneurship is all about. But we don't prepare for the long haul. We don't prepare for the battle, the mental battle, the imposter syndrome. And so if you want to be extremely successful in life, and you want to have the luxuries of life, and you want to have millionaire status, and you want to have $1 million net worth, and you want to have money in the bank, and you want to have peace of mind from a financial standpoint, because it doesn't relieve you from personal problems that may exist in your life. But if you want to have that kind of life, you have to be prepared for the long haul. You have to be prepared for the battle. You have to be prepared for the difficult time. There are ways that you can believe your way into success, and I do believe that. And one of my favorite consultants, and he talks about that you can have anything you want if you believe it, and you take the necessary actions to achieve it. And I do believe all those things. But I think that putting arbitrary deadlines on when we should achieve those things really causes us more stress and anxiety for us, more stress and anxiety than we should be enduring, because entrepreneurship is already a difficult endeavor. It's already very difficult. And so I want to talk about the mindset of the entrepreneur, and just help you better understand, if you have a product that you believe in, if you have a service that you believe in, and you're getting started on your journey, or maybe you're 5 years in, or maybe you're 10 years in on your journey, and you're wondering, when is this going to ever happen for me? I want to give you a mindset that I hope is going to help you better endure this season. Because I used to ask myself that question: when is this going to happen for me? When am I going to make more money that I don't have to worry about that next paycheck? When am I going to be able to pay my bills on time every time? When am I going to have the status of somebody who was successful? And I started asking myself that question over and over again, because I was there. But I remember something my dad told me, and he said, "You're in the desert period." He was referring back to Moses in the desert period, when Moses was in the desert period, and he was walking towards the promised land. He had the entire group behind him, and people were depending on him. And I can't imagine the amount of stress that he must have felt with 2 million people following behind him, walking to the promised land, and everybody asking, when are we going to get there? Right. I think my family of 6 is a lot to bear. By the way, for those of you guys who don't know, I just had my baby was just born, and so now I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. So really excited about that. But this family of 6 that depends on me, he had a family of 2 million that were depending on him to get to the promised land, and he was probably wondering, when am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? How am I going to endure this desert period, this period of dry land, this period of no water, this period of no shade, this period of relentless heat? And we probably feel all these things as entrepreneurs. We feel that relentless heat, the pressure. We feel that there's no shade. We feel sometimes so thirsty for an answer. We feel so thirsty for a solution. We feel like we need more help. And I've been there. I've been there before many, many times. And so what's the mindset that you have to have? Well, the first thing is you have to gear up for the battle. And what I mean by that is you have to plan. Recently I was in my private Facebook group with my consulting clients. I put something out there because I think it's so true. And it's, you wouldn't bake a cake without a recipe, but yet you build your business without a plan. The business plan, the business portfolio, that's what we call the business portfolio, which is the 5 points of the plan. And that I'll do another talk on that. But the business plan is the recipe for your business, the recipe for your cake. So if you don't take the time to write the recipe and follow it, your cake, or what we call the business, is likely going to taste like shit.
This show has been brought to you by 8-Figure Firm Consulting. At 8-Figure Firm, we help law firms turn into law businesses. Stop wasting your time with gurus who've never built a successful business. At 8-Figure Firm, we'll show you how to unleash the power of your law firm for personal and financial freedom. For more information, go to 8figurefirm.com. Welcome back to the Guts and Glory Show with your host, Louis Scott.
So stop saying that you don't have time to plan and start saying, I can't afford to build a cake without a recipe. And so the first part of gearing up for the battle is preparing the plan. When I started building 8-Figure Firm, I had already learned a lot of these principles of entrepreneurship, which is one of the reasons why 8-Figure Firm grew from 0 to 5 million in 3 years, was because I had learned so many principles of entrepreneurship already. And one of the principles is that you plan before it happens. And so I sat down and I wrote down, my vision, my core values, my service standards. I wrote down my company goals. I wrote down my marketing plan, which was basically no money. It was a referral-based business. My hiring plan. I wrote down all these things that I thought were going to help me be successful. And then I just started executing on it. And believe it or not, the plan failed. I did not achieve what I wanted to achieve in the business in the first year, but I achieved a lot. And so if you want to have the mindset of an entrepreneur, you have to have the mindset that I can't afford to say that I don't have time. You just can't do that. You can't afford to say that you don't have time. You can't afford to say that you don't have time for making a plan. You can't afford to say that you don't have time to grow yourself. You can't afford to say that you don't have time to improve yourself. You don't have that luxury. You don't have that luxury. The second thing is that the mindset of an entrepreneur has to be someone who has an extended horizon, meaning I don't have an arbitrary deadline on when I should be successful. There is no date that tells me when I should be successful. There is no moment that tells me when I should be successful. There is no moment when I'm going to say, I'm going to quit on this dream. I'm going to quit on my product. I'm going to quit on my service. I'm going to quit on my restaurant. There's no moment where that becomes a reality. You will continue to fight for your dream. That's the mindset you have to have. No matter what happens. And I've been fighting for my dream for 20 years. My dream, believe it or not, was not to build multiple successful companies. My dream was to be a publicly well-known or nationally renowned author and speaker. I'm still fighting for that. I'm still trying to figure out how to become that. And I see other people who are younger than me who go out on the stage and who are already that. That has nothing to do with me. I'm still fighting for that. And so if you want to be able to overcome some of the challenges, you have to develop a mindset that overcomes the barriers, because these barriers are going to come in and they're going to drown you out. One of the things that I told somebody recently that have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a song in your mind? Like maybe you were playing a song over and over. So I do that. I get locked in on a song. My wife hates that I do that sometimes because I play the piano, and so I'll find a song that I like and I'll just play the song over and 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 like literally nonstop. And so sometimes I do that with songs. I'll listen to a song over and over and again. And in the middle of the night, I'll wake up, or in the morning, I wake up with the song ringing in my head. And if you want to be able to overcome all of your obstacles and all of your burdens and all of your trials and all the issues that come with entrepreneurship, you have to have the song of confidence, the song of belief. You have to be engaged in believing that you can overcome the challenges that come your way, because challenges are going to come your way. It's not going to be easy. But who said this should be easy? Who said that entrepreneurship should be easy? That's the funny part. I hate when people come to me and they go, this is not fun. Who said it was going to be fun? This is not easy. Who said it was going to be easy? This is so hard. Who said it was going to be easy? Like, that is just, it blows my mind away. You want to make $1 million, $2 million, $10 million. You want to make this income that far surpasses what people make around the country and in the world, but you think it's going to be easy? It's not going to be easy. And so you have to plan for the battle. You have to plan for the long haul. You have to develop this mindset in this, that you can overcome any issue. And recently in the same private Facebook group that I have, because I try to put some inspirational things in there just to keep people, on track with their mindset. But when I talk about this sense of resiliency and the sense of like, you have to be committed to the process. One of the things that I try to tell people is that if you make the problem seem big, you are going to become small in the problem in the moment. But if you make your problem seem small, you will become big in the moment. And I have found this to be true, that when owners and entrepreneurs are overwhelmed by the size of their problems, they generally feel powerless. But when they see their problems as just part of the process, they always feel empowered. And so ask yourself the question, do I shrink in fear in the face of an obstacle, or do I rise in faith? And the thing is, if you rise in faith, that'll tell you something about your business. And if you shrink in fear, that'll tell you something about your business. And so the mindset of an entrepreneur is someone who is battle ready, understands the long haul, is willing to overcome all things, has a belief for all things, has a belief that they can overcome all things. But I'm going to give you 3 additional words, and I won't expand upon them too much because they're self-evident, but I'm just going to give you 3 words. Number 1 is resilient. They have to be resilient. You will be tested. You will be tested. You have to be resilient. Number 2, you have to be resourceful. You need to make sure that you find the resources that you need to overcome your issue. Every issue is overcomable. So you need to be resourceful. And the last one is you need to be solution oriented. Don't spend so much time on the problem. Spend more time thinking about the solution. And so if you do these things, if you become battle tested, if you understand this for the long haul, if you have the mindset of belief that you can overcome these things, if you're resilient, resourceful, and solutions oriented, there's no reason that with consistency and time and effort that you can't build the business of your dreams, that you can't accomplish something great in your life, that you can't provide the legacy that you want to provide for your life. It's just a matter of time and effort. Put in the time, put in the effort, and it will happen. That's a universal law. It will happen. If you plant the seeds, you will grow a harvest. No doubt about it. Just keep planting those seeds each and every day. Thanks for joining me on the Guts and Glory Show.
You've been listening to the Guts and Glory Show. For more and to learn more about Luis, hit the website at luisscottjr.com. For consulting opportunities, hit 8figurefirm.com. That's the number 8figurefirm.com. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll see you next time on the Guts and Glory Show.